not ramble on this vlog. It is very important and educational. We want them to get through the entire thing. Sorry, I had to have a little meeting with myself before we got started. Hey friend, don't even ask me why my headphones are on. I should have done this video a long time ago when everyone was asking, how did you save money by paying yourself car payments and buy a decent car that is still running well to this date? And I realized why I didn't create that video. It's because I needed to show you 3 years later that I didn't buy a hoopty. Anywho, I've now had this car for 3 years. Let me see, 2000. When did I post that? Let me go back to my Facebook post. Yeah, I've had that car since 2020, a little over 3 years. And even though I am known for blowing up cars, I don't blow up cars anymore. That was my late 20s. Don't judge me. What's up, Savings Squad and family? Welcome back to my channel. Hey, newbies. Welcome to Trendy Savings and Budgeting. We are on day 3 of my 30-day vlog challenge, and I'm going to share some tips on how you can save money to buy a car with cash. You heard me right. And how do I know this is possible? Because I did it back in 2020. No PP loans involved, but we're going to get into that in a minute. And I know you can do the same thing. Now, why would you even want to do this? Why buy a car in cash? Because you're going to save a ton of money on interest. And as you know, cash is king. And you're going to be able to negotiate maybe an $8,000 car down to a $5,000 car.
Come on now, dog.
Because cash is king. First of all, let's keep it 100. We are not talking about buying your dream car and or a brand new model. This is probably or most likely going to be an older car, depending on the next step, which is your goal. And I can already hear you asking, what's the purpose in doing all this? Well, paying in cash means no monthly payments, which some of y'all have really high car payments. Trust me, I was there, been there, done that, not judging you. No interest. And you can often get a better deal from the seller. I kind of already said that, but I just wanted to repeat it. Plus, it gives you financial freedom and peace of mind. So I'm going to walk you through the steps of how I did it and possibly give you some tips on how you can do it too. Are you ready? Stay with it, stay committed, and go ahead and drop down, let's go, I'm ready. Anything like that in the chat. I need some engagement. All right, so the first thing I did and what I would suggest you do is set a clear savings goal. Decide what type of car you need and research its cost on and offline. Visit some car dealerships, used and new, all depending again on what you're working with. So let's say your goal is $10,000. Break it down into manageable monthly payments. Remember, you're paying yourself a car payment. And so these will be your savings targets. For example, if you want to buy a car in or within 1 year, you'll need to save about $834 per month. If you know this is not possible and you still want to stick to that $10,000, now you know maybe you need to give yourself more time, like 2 years, maybe 3. Or if you maybe need a car sooner, you can lower that goal to $8,000 or $7,000. This is actually similar to what happened with me. My initial goal was to save $8,000, but I got a little antsy since I was without a car. I'll tell you the story of humbling myself and giving up a car payment, which led to all of this in another vlog or story time. But if I had to do it in a year, I would have needed $416 in monthly payments, but I already started saving and I was kind of like halfway ahead of that goal. It can get really confusing if I talk about my ups and downs and what happened, but pretty much $416 a month for an entire year would have done it. But again, I was already starting with some money saved that happened to be left over from when I tried to do this initially. Even with this decrease in my target goal, I still had months where I came up short due to income issues. So in all transparency, it wasn't until I started receiving unemployment. Under Panorama, they were allowing people to receive unemployment if your income was impacted. I had a combination of things that allowed me to receive unemployment. And I can't lie, this did help increase my income and ability to save more. But it still takes discipline. It took discipline to save that money on a weekly and monthly basis. In fact, I saved up money, or at least I saved up money to move in about 6 months worth of rent. My willpower is good and I'm very disciplined, but I even had to give my mom some of that money and tell her what it was for because I just did not trust myself to have all of these different, not emergency funds. I had some of my emergency fund. She had some of my emergency fund, which included my rent or rent for the future. And I actually used my freedom planner and all of the trackers to create sinking funds for all of this. So no matter where the money was, I knew exactly how much I had and what it was going towards. So how did I get the car of my needs? Because clearly it was not the car of my dreams. For $5,000, and I'm rounding up because I do not have that exact paperwork in front of me, and I kind of wish I did this video earlier on, but I do know it was a little over or close to $5,000. So I basically started searching for cars between $5,000 and $8,000. So I still started looking at cars that were around my goal, just in case I wanted to save a little more and or could negotiate anywhere in between. And I did, or we did exactly that, because my boyfriend at the time, he was really good at this. So I have to give him credit for actually negotiating. I won't say the car was $8,000, but I do remember it was much higher than $5,000, and he negotiated it down to a little under five, and then once taxes and everything hit, yeah, it was a little bit over $5,000. And so yeah, guys, it's very possible, if you're strategizing, taking the right people with you, to get a really good or decent car. And so let's talk about other steps that are really important, like creating a budget. I know y'all feel really restricted and you feel like, oh my god, a budget is just a spending plan for your money. So you want to open a separate savings account and or have a separate place specifically for your car fund. You do not have to do it the way I did it, but you do want to pay yourself car payments and make sure that it is not in a place where you can easily access it and make excuses. Okay, use the trackers like the ones in my freedom planner. The savings goals are visible and helps you avoid the temptation of dipping into those funds for other expenses. The sinking fund planners really help you stay on track, and that's not just because I created this, it's seriously going to help you out. The next thing you want to look at doing, especially if you are living paycheck to paycheck and or you make just enough to pay your bills, you want to consider ways to increase your income. This could be through a side hustle, freelance, selling items you no longer need, just trying to increase your income. Every dollar that can go towards this fund, it could be a one-time thing, a one-time gig, it's going to count. Okay, before you jumpstart any of this, you need to decide on what's going to be your dedicated savings account. Just because everybody else is using a bank, it doesn't mean you have to use a bank. Just decide what works best for you. You need a dedicated savings account and or place where you cannot easily go ahead and access that money, and that you don't really look at it, but you are able to put money in it and check it if you need to. The last thing you may want to consider is automating your savings. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. Setting up automatic transfers to a banking app or an account may work for you, but I didn't really use that method this time around. All right, squad. So let's wrap this up with a quick recap. You want to set a clear goal, create a budget, aka a spending plan, save automatically or create some type of automated savings if you know you are not really disciplined, and if necessary, find ways to boost or increase your income. If you follow these tips, you will be well on your way to paying yourself a car payment and buying your first car or next car with cash. Just stay with it and stay committed, and I will see you the next video. Kisses.